Hello and welcome to the fourth and final edition of our Wellness Wednesdays, brought to you by the kind compliments of the UWI Education Committee. Today we have on set with us the lovely Miss Natasha Grant, Chair of the UWI Credit Union Education Committee. And for those of us who haven't met us, if we haven't met us yet, my name is Lisa Hernandez. I'm a certified holistic health and wellness coach, and I support persons in creating their own personalized health and wellness plan. So today the topic is all about immunity, but you know what time it is. Before we get into any topic, what we normally like to do is do a recap. And there's a spoiler alert, guys. There's an opportunity to win a free ebook, with free immunity recipe ebook. If you can guess, remember what the topics are. So here's where we do the recap. So week 1, we spoke about stress and toxicity, and from that we took away a couple of things.
Yes.
We talk about stop raw as part of a mindfulness practice. We also talked about reducing our toxin load, and we did some cleaning supplies.
Yes, we did.
Right? So the week 2, we spoke about the clean, healthy plate, and in that we introduced the concept of primary and secondary foods. We also talked about portion sizes, the handy tool of our hands, which makes it really convenient. We also talk about eating the rainbow. You know, that's one of my favorites.
And Lisa, I had my rainbow today.
I hope you noticed my happy dance.
Yes, I had my my piece of the rainbow today.
Awesome. So it's all about, if there's too much brown and white, you are not eating right. So it's all about the rainbow, guys. And then we also spoke about, the third week was about movement of family affair. And in there, we had a nice little tool that helps us determine what our exercise personality type was. We also were able to explore a couple different types of exercises that we may enjoy based on our personality type as part of our movement routine. And we learned about the TSN factor, which is understanding the type, having a strategy, and the Nike just do it when it comes to movement. Right? So this week, it's all about connecting all those dots and talking about immunity. So guys, the first person to type what the topics were for the last 3 weeks have an opportunity to win a free immunity recipe guide. And it should be up on your screen, so you're going to see as inspiration what you'll be getting.
Let's go, members.
So while we wait to find out who's exciting announcement of who our winners are, let's jump into the topic of immunity. So, you know, if I was to ask you what your immunity woof is, yeah, you heard correct, woof. So not to worry, we got you covered. We'll be covering that this afternoon.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
And we'll also be covering a lot about what is our immunity, why it's important, some practical steps that we could implement right away. You know, we always love that, the action part of it.
Definitely.
As well as we're going to give you what that secret sauce is, which is all about the woof. So stay tuned, guys. And at the end, our second segment, we're also going to be doing some healthy immunity boosting treats. So you don't want to miss it. Right, so do we have a winner yet? So while we wait for the winner, you know, ask, you know, when you talk about, you say the word immunity, what comes to mind?
Immunity, when you think about it, is that element that helps you fight off any bacteria. You know, when you get the cold, you always say your parents tell you need to build your immunity. And in that, most times they tell you, take your vitamins, you know, get your fruits, get your rest, the little exercise. So all these things, I think, is what adds up to building that healthy immunity.
I love that. I love that. So, guys, guess what? We do have a winner, Keisha Alexander. Congratulations. It's our first winner. Excellent. So you're going to be winning a immunity boosting recipe guide, right? So, we hear the term about immunity a lot of times. And when it comes down to it, you know, it's really difficult. Many of us have challenges explaining exactly what it is, what our body's immunity system looks like. So think about it like our little army fighting for us. And it has about 4 components. And we're going to use it under loose umbrellas of 4 components. So the first part is our skin. The second is our gut. And then on the inside as well, we have our mucous membrane, and then we have the lymphatic system. So when we talk about the skin, we already learned that the skin is part of our largest detoxification organ. And it has a lot of other functions, but it's something we don't really think about it when we think about immunity.
We don't.
Right? And when it comes to immunity, it actually prevents bacteria and germs from entering our body as our first line of defense. Okay. Right? Second comes to our gut. And when we talk about gut is really important in this whole mix because it houses the most of our body's bacteria. So you often hear the little saying, all illness begins in the gut.
In the
Well,
gut.
there may be some truth to that.
That could explain why some of ours are a little bigger than others.
Right? And then the third one is the mucous membrane. Think about it as like our safety net, our little catch-all. So when those bacteria and germs that actually make it inside, it actually catches it and helps the body expel it. So think about when you get a flu, your body goes into an overdrive in terms of that mucus production, all as part of getting rid of the germs and bacteria that goes with it.
Now I understand.
Right? Awesome. The fourth part is our lymphatic system. Now, when we talk about lymphatic system, we hear it from time to time, but most of us don't understand what that really stands for. So it has three components, which is the lymphatic nodes. So, whenever your body has an infection or it's fighting off illness, you start feeling the little nodules and nodes are swollen and warm, and okay, I'm getting sick, something is wrong, and we start to look. But there are two other components, which is our spleen, as well as our bone marrow.
Okay.
Right? So, and what that does, so the lymphatic system transports food, oxygen, and water through our blood, and it also has another function where it gets rid of toxins from our system. So it plays an integral role. So all together, and these systems form our immune system, but we know that all our body systems are interrelated, right?
It is.
So when we look at generally, they work very efficiently together. And when that's going well, we are happy. But it's actually amazing that we're actually alive, because we're actually walking. So when you think about all the things that we go through on a daily basis, all the toxins that we're exposed to from the environment, from the food that we eat, the skincare products that we use, it's amazing. So it's really important to take a little time to acknowledge that little army that has been working so tirelessly for us.
And now so more than ever.
Exactly. So when it's out of balance, though, that's when we have problems. So if I was to ask, how do you know when your immune system is out of whack? And audience, this is an opportunity for you as well to share what are some of the signs that you look for to know that your immune system may be a little wonky.
Sometimes the tiredness, that extra fatigue, you feel the tension. As you rightfully said, in the lymph nodes, you feel the swelling.
You start feeling in your throat, you're feeling that.
That sand throat when you swallow, or sometimes even the headache. A slight headache may come on.
That's correct. And our body always is there talking to us. It's really for us to listen. So here's some 5 tips that you can know to learn generally to know when our immunity is out of whack. So one is that constant feeling of being stressed. Yeah, so we all know about that. Then we get the flu frequently. That's one we're really accustomed to. When you start getting flu all the time, the older folks will tell you, your body weak, your immune system low, right? Then we start having tummy troubles, right? Then if we get wounds, we find the wounds not healing, it takes long to heal. And then we tend to be tired or feeling wired all the time. So some of the things that we are getting back from the audience are things like getting the flu often, feeling sluggish, that whole malaise type feeling. And those are all things that we know to look for, right? There are a couple other factors as well. Age plays a part in it. So as we get older, our body's immune response is not as agile as it was before, as well as gender may also play a little part in this, believe it or not. So it has been shown that estrogen tends to promote the body's immune response, whereas androgens tend not to promote it as much, right? So
ladies,
that's a fun little fact, right? Awesome. So when it comes to stress, it's something which plays a key part in our immunity. It's important to understand what is in our control versus what is outside of our control. And it's really important in terms of managing that whole response. But we all have our own little strategy in terms of managing immunity. So I'd love to hear from the audience, and as well as you, what are some of the things that you do to boost your immunity?
Well, first of all, sleep, rest.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that.
Try to get as much as possible. Of course, my fruits, a little exercise, a little goes a long way. And definitely the supplements.
Awesome, awesome. So you see, we all have our own little strategies that we use. So staying healthy is always the priority, but the reality is from time to time we would get sick. So it's really about having now a little action plan or a little plan in place as to how we're going to support our body. And if it is that we do get sick, a simple recovery plan that we can work with is one, getting a lot of fluids. And we're going to do it through two plans, one for recovery and one for prevention. So when we do get sick, it's about all increasing our fluids, keeping hydrated, keeping the toxins being flushed out of our system, rest and restore. That's so important. Working through while we are sick really doesn't help us. So we're also getting some feedback from our audience, and it's things like taking vitamin C with zinc, fresh juices. I mean, that's amazing. It's all part of really boosting our immunity. So in our recovery plan, we talk about fluids, we talk about rest and relaxation, and we also talk about eating. So the general rule is if you're not feeling hungry, you don't have to eat. But if you do feel hungry, you want to eat foods that are rich in immunity-boosting properties. And these are things like we know about the chicken soup.
Oh, yes. There's a whole story
Granny's
about chicken soup.
We talk about things like fish broth. We talk about things like onions and garlics. Those are things that promote healing.
Ginger.
Honey, ginger, green tea. All these are things that we can use. So you know how to recover quickly, how to prevent. In terms of lifestyle choices, will be really about maintaining balance when it comes to eating and movement. Because we know over has challenges, under also has challenges
so
as well. So finding that medium, that right mix, right? As well as maintaining a healthy weight. And we know that toxins are stored in our adipose or fatty tissues. So maintaining a healthy weight will also support our body's immune response. Keeping our gut health happy. Gut health happy. That's a little tongue twisted here, right?
GHH.
Exactly. And then the other part of it would be really having a mindfulness practice, because all this helps with as a holistic approach.
Definitely so.
So all of these things sounds familiar.
Yeah, because we'd have touched on some of them in the past.
Exactly. So we're seeing how they are all becoming together now.
Yes.
So we have a shocker. We have good news and we have bad news.
Okay, let's go with the bad first so we'll build and get to the good.
So the bad news is there's no magic pill. I am so sorry. There's no magic.
Oh, God, Lisa.
The good news, however, on the flip side, is that our body has the ability to heal if we only give it half a chance. Right?
That we will.
How do we know how to support our bodies? So here are 5 practical tips that we can do to support our body's healing response. Right? So the first one would be to focus on food and nutrition, focus on whole foods. The second would be to focus on our gut health. The third, sleep. No brainer there. The fourth would be around our hygiene fundamentals. And the fifth would be about balancing stress. So let's dig a little deeper into them. Right? So the first one, when it comes to food and nutrition, we already covered what processed foods do. We know what the benefits of eating the rainbow looks like.
Yes, we do.
Now we're going to look at how foods that promote immune boosting. Right? And when we talk about this, we talk about both food as well as supplements.
Okay.
Right? So the first one is vitamin C, and this is the most common one that comes to mind. Every time we think about immunity, vitamin C. And we are blessed to live in the Caribbean where we have an abundance of citrus. We have all the grapefruits, the oranges, the lemons, the limes. Portugals, some of my favorites. But for those of us or those persons who may have an intolerance to citrus, the good news is that we get it from a lot of other sources. So we're talking things like bell peppers, spinach. Spinach actually has a folate, which also helps in DNA repair.
Okay.
We're talking things like pineapples, star fruit, kiwi, strawberries, cantaloupes, guavas, a lot of other sources. But there's a big one. It's the cruciferous family of vegetables. And these are powerhouses of vitamin C. So we're talking things like broccoli, one of my yummies, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts. These also have some added benefits. So besides being potent in vitamin C, they also have vitamin A and E.
Okay.
They also are considered colon sweepers, which means they are good for detoxification as well as for gut health.
Yes.
So they are a fantastic way to include boosting our immunity. And then it comes to another one, selenium. Selenium is found in mushrooms, one of my favorites.
If my sisters hear this, they would love you.
So selenium in mushrooms is wonderful, but mushrooms also have some added benefits. They have two B vitamins, which is riboflavin and niacin,
Okay.
and these promote proteins, help promote the producing of pathogen proteins that helps fight and ward off bacteria in our body. So, I mean, you can have fun with them, saute them, add them to omelets.
Big,
But there's also,
gross.
you can also get it as well from things like Brazil nuts, right? So for those of us
That
who
would be my route.
may not be very fun, have mushrooms like I am, there are other alternatives as well, right? So another one is zinc. Now zinc is a little tricky because our body doesn't make zinc. So the only way we get zinc is through ingestion, right? So by taking them through food or supplement. And zinc is a really important little guy because he supports white blood cells, the promotion of white blood cells in the body's immune response. And what that means is that our wounds will heal faster as part of that activating that healing process. It also, remember, skin is also part of our immune system.
Yes.
And it also helps with metabolism, which means it helps maintain optimal body weight.
Quick lifestyle.
So it's a fantastic little vitamin. And some of the foods that contain this would be things like our legumes. We're talking things like lentils and chickpea or chana, as we know it locally. You get it from eggs, from seafood, so it's really important. Once you can tolerate it, to include seafood into your diet. You're talking like things like oysters, nuts, and seeds. And we already spoke about the benefit of seeds and all of that already. So then there's a big group which falls under the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant group of foods that promote immunity. Now, when we talk about antioxidants, we talk about things that protect our cells from free radical damage. So these things really support us on a cellular level. Okay. So let me explain it like this. Think about a three-legged chair. Somebody drops down on it, it falls, knocks over another chair, breaks another leg, and so we have a ripple effect. A set of chairs ended up with only 3 legs. And this is what happens on a cellular level, constant ripple effect of cells being damaged. So you know that could never be good for us, right?
Of the cells.
So we have degeneration of the cells and also known to aid in accelerating the aging process. So including antioxidants and anti-inflammatory foods is also important. Anti-inflammatory, we spoke about when we talk about the body's stress response being under constant stress, that it produces this low-grade inflammation in our body, which leads to a lot of other sicknesses. Anti-inflammatory foods actually supports our body recovering from that response, right? So things that would fall under that, a powerful antioxidant is glutathione, and that is found in a delicious fruit of watermelons. Now, watermelon also fall under the group of red foods and everything, and we know red foods are good for the heart. Yes. So it has something called lycopene in it, which is really good for the heart as well. So there's an added benefit to enjoy our watermelons.
You can never get enough.
Exactly. So these are some of the foods that we look at. And some of the foods that fall under this umbrella of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory foods would be our gingers, or turmeric, or EVOO, our extra virgin olive oil, green tea, avocados, right? So those are some of those that fall under that. And next is vitamin D. So we're blessed living in the Caribbean. We can get it from the sun, so it's a great way to spend time in nature, which also, by the way, helps our stress response by spending time in nature. We get the sun, but you also get it from food sources as well. So we're talking things like egg yolks, fatty fish like salmon. All these are sources that we get our vitamin D from. So I'm just curious, and the audience, this is an opportunity for you to chime in as well. What are some of your favorites from the list of foods that we would have to? I could tell you mine.
Avocados.
Awesome. Avocado is truly yummy. And now we're getting it right through the year, which makes it even better. Right? So audience, share with us and let us know what are some of these that we caught from the list that makes it onto your list of favorites. And now that you know that it also has added benefits of boosting your immunity. So next on the list is our gut. And when we talk gut, we're talking about pre- and probiotic foods. When we talk probiotic foods, we talk things like bananas, onions, apples. And prebiotic would be more or less our fermented foods. Now, ancestors ate a lot more fermented foods than we do currently in our diet, right? And when we talk fermented foods, we're talking things like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut. Now, for those of us persons who may not necessarily be inclined to consume those on a regular basis, it's generally recommended if you go supplement-wise, at least 3 to 4 times a year, you take a probiotic for at least 20 to 28 days, right? So there's always a trade-off. So it's a win-win to really include these into our diet on a regular basis. So how do we tell if it is we have tummy troubles? So guys, we have a list coming in from our audience, and I'm so happy. My heart is warmed. We have things like avocados, mushrooms, eggs, broccoli, cauliflower, some of my faves as well. So that's awesome. Awesome. So how do we tell when our gut is out of balance? So some of the things that happens, we talk about, which is the obvious one, we know we will start having tummy troubles, but then we start having things like allergies and food sensitivity. So we get up one day, and something that we may have something innocent that we may have been eating all the time, all of a sudden, hello.
Bye-bye.
Don't think so.
Bye-bye shell foods.
Exactly. So these are all little signs of body telling us something is not right within our gut. So other things would be like gas, increase in gas, bloating, indigestion. You find that you're breaking out on your skin a lot because remember all these systems are interrelated.
Somewhere it's backing up.
Exactly. So those are some little ways that we can tell, right? But we know how to solve that now.
Yes, we do.
Third on the list is sleep. We covered this before. We talk about the 7 to 9 hours, creating the home environment to support it, managing digital device and in downtime and prioritizing sleep. Exactly. So we know it's a work in progress, but continue to work at it, guys. Fourth, it comes up to our hygiene fundamentals. So we know the obvious, which is washing our hand, including the wrist, between the fingers, the nail bed, under the nails. But there's a little more to it as well. So we wanted to look at, when we talk about that, we're looking at food hygiene, food safety. We're also talking about in terms of our environment, in terms of the cleaning supplies that we use, and generally in terms of our skin, which is the biggest part of our immune system, making sure we shower on a regular basis and being careful in terms of the products that we put on our skin when it comes to toxins.
Definitely so.
Right? And the fifth one is all about balancing stress. So we know we would never be able to eliminate stress entirely. It's all about finding creative ways to balance it. So we have some little strategies. We talk about mindfulness. We talk about our breath work. We talk about meditation. Prioritizing downtime, even if it's just to do nothing for a short while. Give ourselves that break from intense room swing. Our happy space. Awesome. And also even our pets. Our pets help in terms of that stress response as well.
I mean, sometimes they add to it sometimes, but...
Tell me about it. So when that happens, it's no longer my dog, it's my husband's dog. Just saying. Right, so let's do a quick recap. So we covered a lot. We covered what makes up our immune system. We understand now how to identify when our immune system may be low or compromised. We also know what lifestyle choices we can make to either promote recovery or as a preventative measure. And we know 5 practical steps that we can take in order to support our body's immune response.
Yes, we do.
So what is the secret sauce?
Don't say golden ring.
So the secret sauce has to do with our woof. No, I did not forget. It's all about our woof. So exactly what is our woof? So the woof, when it comes to woof, W stands for our whole wellness plan, right? The H stands for helpful herbs. The O, often overlooked, oils, which is our essential oils, and F, all about food and nutrition. So our woof. So let's look a little bit about the W. So when we talk about our whole wellness plan, it's really about the intentional decisions or choices we make, lifestyle choices we make on a daily basis. How are we promoting healing? How are we promoting health, prioritizing our health? When it comes to H, herbs, and not specifically the herb, we have a lot of herbs that herbs have been used for centuries as part of medicine and for healing, in addition to as food. And when we look at herbs, we talk things like oregano, we talk of things like angelica root, olive leaf extract. There are so many others. Herbs are a powerhouse that a lot of us not even know whether they have vitamins, a lot of vitamins, and they have a lot of added benefits as well as fiber. So things like rosemary actually promotes memory. Basil is actually high in vitamin C and good for our eyes. So it's a nice way to improve our immunity that we often overlook. When after H comes O, and this is the often overlooked oils, our essential oils. And you know, we grew up using it. We just probably never really put the dots together. So when we get sick, a lot of times we know about the Chinese herbal oils, such as the shilling oil that we would use, right? So all of these oils have been used for centuries as part of building immunity, helping the body heal. And oils are very flexible. So they can be used topically, well, such as when we rub the shilling oil and the other oils that we would use, aromatically, which is one of my favorites. I have diffusers through my home, and they all have antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory properties. And then it could also be ingested internally as well, right? So these are some of the ways we have like a peppermint oils that we'd use, right? And cooking and all of that. So one of the things that you do, there's a little caution when it comes to essential oils. The first one is that essential oil should never be used directly on the skin. Pure essential oils, that is. It should always be used with a carrier oil, probably like coconut oil or some other type of oil. And then there's also important to know the source of your oils. So where it comes from and what it's mixed with, because it can actually have a negative effect if we don't know. It can actually become toxic. So one of the brands that I know and trust, and I use personally, is the doTERRA brand. And if it is that anyone is interested in learning more about oils and the safety and about aromatherapy, you can visit my website at www.mydoterra.com/Bellam Holistic Living, right? And you'd give you a range of information that you can learn more about it, right? So when it comes to immunity, to building a strong immunity, it really requires a holistic approach. And it all boils down to our WOOF. So the W in the WOOF stands for our wellness plan. The H stands for including herbs in it. The O is the use of essential oils. And when we say oils, we talk about essential oils. And the F is all about food and nutrition. So all participants will be able to get a workbook, our immunity boosting workbook, as well as an ebook, a strong resource guide about building strong immunity.
Appreciate that.
So you can look forward to getting that, and we'll cover everything that we covered today, as well as some additional stuff in it as well. So guys, there is an opportunity for another winner, right? And the first person who could type closest to what WOOF stands for in the chat will be able to win another free immunity boosting ebook resource. So we're going to be taking a short break, and when we come back, some of the things we'll be covering will be our fun immunity boosting recipes, as well as there is going to be another opportunity as well for persons to win another ebook. So we covered a lot today, and I'd love to hear from you, the audience. What are some of the things that your takeaways? If you have any questions, or what are some of the things that you may have not known before that you may be including into your holistic immunity wellness plan? So what are some of the things you think you might want to include?
I think I have to get a little more the probiotics in, because I'm not a yogurt and that sort of food lover, but I will get the supplements.
And when we talk supplements, we generally start off low. We're talking about 10 billion. And eventually you can move up to about 50 when you're starting. So you start on the lower end of the spectrum. You work about 21 to 28 days, 3 times a year.
And what will you recommend? What is one of the better brands or the best brand you think on the market?
A couple that I use. So generally most of them are standard. Most of them are standard.
And then of course sleep. My rest.
Awesome. I love that. I love that. And I think over the last couple of weeks, I've been trying really hard to be intentional about sleep. Even myself, I know sometimes we don't realize how slowly we move away from what our best practices are. So it's really about being intentional and continuing to go. So drum roll. Let's see who's going to get the WOOF. We did cover it. Who is our WOOF winner?
Very quick titles. Very quick.
I don't have any particular brand that I recommend because I don't want to go down that path. But generally, look for one that has to the front that records the percentage in it. So whether it be 10 billion, 50 billion, make sure it specifies that. And that way you know it really is a pure
Probiotic.
pure probiotic. Alright. So guys, we'll go to a break, and when we come back, we would be going into the kitchen for some fun, healthy, immunity boosting treats. And we are back. And so today we're in the kitchen and we're going to be making 2 immunity boosting recipes. So the first one is our turmeric latte, and one of my favorites. So I'm going to teach you a little tips and tricks. So one of the easiest ways to do this is to really do your mix in advance. So an easy way to do it is that we take 5 tablespoons of turmeric powder, and it's always best to have fresh turmeric powder. Generally, for the best of taste, you keep it about 3 months. Now, the best way is really if you have the root, the fresh root, the ginger, and the turmeric roots, you take it. But if not, this is a quick way to get it together. So we added some turmeric, 5 tablespoons of turmeric, and we're going to be using ginger powder, which is about 2 or 3 teaspoons of ginger. And so black pepper, in Ayurvedic, they can't call it the pepper milk. So the black pepper actually improves the body's ability to absorb the component, which is the curcumin, in the saffron tea. So we add a little bit of black pepper, which is about a teaspoon to this amount, and we mix it completely. So once we have this stores well for about 3 months. It will remain fresh to use. Now there are a couple of other tips that I use. I generally do not use a sweetener when I make my own. So I do add some sweet herbs. So we talk things like fennel, cinnamon, and star anise. So it actually improves the flavor as well. That's just a little tip that I use. So we are going to be making some turmeric latte. So we're going to be using some non-dairy milk, right? And to the pot, we are going to be adding half cup of milk. So we're going to be adding half cup of milk. And this is we are using full cream, full fat coconut milk. And we are going to be adding a spoon of our nicest mix. We're going to be adding some of the warming sweet spices as well. Just a couple. And cinnamon stick. And we're going to start warming this on the stove. So we're going across now to the stove. And we're going to stir this a little. Let's just get this out of the way. All right, so warm it. And just as it gets warmed up, everything becomes incorporated into a nice little paste. Then we'll add the rest of our milk. And to this mixture, we're actually using 1.5 cups of milk. And we're just going to let it get warmed right through. So yes, more or less, so you see, more or less it looks like everything is incorporated. It's beginning to get a few little bubbles there. So we're going to add 1 cup of milk. So we have some milk here. Yeah, we use this one. Put it for me, please. 2 of these will make up the cup. 1, 2. All right, so, and this is just to make sure it warms through. And to this, now another thing that you add to boost it is I could add a little bit of coconut oil or ghee. So you're adding just about a spoon of coconut oil to it as well. And for this, guys, one more, yeah. And this, guys, we're using cold pressed coconut oil. I like it for the flavor. It doesn't add that heavy coconut taste to it. And we just leave this to simmer a few minutes until it warms up, and then we strain it and we add our sweetener to taste, right? So that's it. It's as simple as that. And in the interim, while we wait, we're going to make our foam, milk foam, for our latte. So this you can use just a simple whisk. While our tea warms up. You can see the foam coming in. If you have a electrical hand whip, you can do it with it as well. Or if you may have a professional latte or cappuccino maker, you can do it as well. But you really don't need a whole lot of equipment to create simple. And we're getting our movement in. Right? Every little bit counts, right? So we're almost there. Just a couple more of these. That looks like about it, yeah? You think you need a little more, or are you good to go? Okay. All right, so our tea should be just about getting ready. And if you want, we can add in the sweetener now. Just about a spoon or so. Today I'm using maple syrup. You can use for persons. So just a little bit to see what it looks like. Right? That rich golden milk. As I said, generally, most times when I make it, I do not use a sweetener. But if you want to use a sweetener, I would say probably use something that is low in sugar. So you're looking probably a honey, which we know also has immune boosting properties in it. You can use things like coconut sugar. But today we have, especially for those who may be vegan, who may not want to use honey, you have agave. You can try using agave or some maple syrup. Right, and that should be about it there. So this is what it looks like, a nice rich golden milk. We strain it. Oops, a little bit of a debuncle. Right? So now it's time to serve up. And we're going to serve it up with some cinnamon sticks on the plate so you know exactly what's in it. You know, we have our star anise and our cinnamon. Oops, oh my goodness. Never mind. All right? All these things happen in a real kitchen now. Right? So this is fresh coconut milk that we made from scratch, but you can also get from a can as well. Generally recommend the full fat ones. You get all the added benefits of it. And it's time to serve up. So guys, I would love for you to see what it looks like, the rich golden milk. And then we top it off. We can also top it up since our foam went. We top it up with a little more of our coconut milk. Right, so. Right, top it up. Still get a little design with the coconut milk on top. And guys, this happens all the time. Even in our kitchens, it happens. Right, so all about managing what we can. So here you have it, your spice tea, turmeric tea. So this is an excellent source of antioxidants as well as anti-inflammatory that helps support our immune response. So, awesome. So next we are going to make, just get these things out of the way. And next we are going to make a spread, a chocolate spread. Now, chana or garbanzo or chickpeas, this is something we learned that foods that are rich in zinc helps fight immunity. And this little legume is also a really great source of fiber as well as protein. So what I did, I just pureed it. I actually use a can of chana. This time I normally burst my chana from scratch. This one is one, we rinsed it and we blended it with a little bit of milk. And to this, we're going to add tahini. We are using tahini today. You can use any nut or seed butter that you have at home. So tahini is actually made with sesame seed, and we're adding about half of a cup of tahini to this. We're also going to be adding a little bit of sweetener. And the sweetener of my choice today is what I have on hand. Right, so you can use honey, you can use agave, you can use maple syrup. Whatever liquid. So you can even make a date paste. Remember, we learned how to make our date paste last time. We can use that as well. So you're adding a little bit of maple syrup to this. And we start mixing. Right. And you can do this if it is that you have a, if you have a food processor, it's easy, very easy in a food processor. So we add this, you see it's coming together nicely. And it's about the texture you want as of this time. And then we're going to add in our spices. We're going to add in a pinch of salt. And today we're using a little bit of pink sea salt. All right, pinch of salt. We're going to be adding in some cocoa powder, and cocoa powder is a really powerful antioxidant. Remember, we spoke about using chocolate, dark chocolate, as part of your healthy plate. And we're going to add in a little bit of spice today. We're using our spice of choice today is cinnamon, a teaspoon of cinnamon. And guys, it's as simple as that. We mix to incorporate. And remember, we said if we need any extra, we could always add a little splash of milk to bring it all together. Let's just get this out. I may have to go a little smaller. So we have our garbanzo beans or chana, which is high in zinc. We have our cocoa powder, which is a powerful antioxidant, and we learned about what antioxidants are good for. And just a handful other ingredients. So as part of our clean, healthy plate. And we have our spices. We know cinnamon is also good in terms of fighting immunity. It has that anti-inflammatory. Put this on the side. And we just mix this together. Yeah. I just want to see what the texture and all the ingredients looks together first. And then we just add a little bit of milk just to pull it all together. And we also have our seed butter, which is our sesame seed. So all of these things are powerful boosting. And this could actually be used as a dip for fruits. It could also be used as a spread in place of things like Nutella, or a nice chocolate, healthy chocolate spread. To this, you could also add things like chocolate chips as well, you know, other things. So this is what we're looking at. And there you have it. So what we're going to be serving it with today is actually going to be serving it with some apples. So fresh apples. And of course, once you're using fruits that have wax on them. You want to make sure you prepare it properly, get that wax off of the fruit. A little warm water, baking soda, and we have our bowl, so we're going to plate up our spread. So it can be used on toast, great for toast as well, but pancakes, waffles. I mean, you could have fun with it. And the good part about it, it doesn't have a whole lot of ingredients. We're talking about healthy fats as well as low in sugar. That's correct. So there we have it. And we're all plated up. So guys, here today we completed our, I hope you can see it, our healthy chocolate hummus, which goes back with fresh apple. And we have, I hope you can get to see it properly, our marbled. Let's get all fancy now. Our marbled turmeric latte. So I hope you enjoyed it. As usual, as we come to the end of our sessions, may the fingers win. The fastest person who could type Wellness Wednesday has the opportunity to win a free immunity recipe resource guide. Right? So guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the time together. I hope that you have something at least that you benefited and were able to take away. And please feel free to share your comments and feedback in the chat. Just a gentle reminder that every single participant will receive a link where you can book a free 30-minute Wellness Reset Discovery call. And that's yeah. Yeah. So everyone has the opportunity to book a free Wellness Reset Discovery session, and it's where you get 30 minutes of undivided time that allows you to really get clear on what your wellness goals look like.
See? You all realize, right?
All right.
Accidents happen.
Yeah.
But I really taste them.
Anybody would like to try the latte to see to taste it?
And it tastes the rich, the cocoa, chocolate.
Yeah. All right. So do we have any winners? Any fast fingers as yet? So we go to taste. And guys, you can also use your own spices in it. You could have fun. Remember, cooking is supposed to be all part of creative expression. Right? So we have another winner. Somebody's on fire tonight, and it's Nikisha Alexander. Congratulations, and I look forward to hearing from you what your thoughts are. So guys, thanks again, and do have a wonderful evening. All the best. Much love. Bye.